On today's episode of SEO Lunch, we talk about implementing images into your email campaign and why smiles, spam, and Gmail just get a whole lot more exciting. Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of SEO Lunch. I'm your host, Dan, and SEO Lunch is your weekly look at the latest in inbound marketing tips, content marketing tricks, and sometimes we splash in other content. This episode is sponsored by our own Slocum themes. We have some great themes out there, great blogging themes with Socialize and Epic. Please take a look at those, folks. So the reason why I said earlier that we're splashing in some extra content is we've gotten a lot of requests lately, and we've been doing a lot of support ourselves with email campaigns, so sending out emails. And one of the most commonly asked questions is images. What do I do with them? Do I put a lot of images in my email campaigns? Do I do any? What are the pros, cons, things like that? So I was going to take you through a few of those today. There's actually a specific news story that spawned that or spurred this conversation. I'll get into that a little bit later into the episode. So images don't always work. You want to have always have a link to content anyway. So the reason why images don't always work is that we have a lot of things to consider. We have browsers. We have clients. So things like Mozilla, Thunderbird, Apple Mail, browsers like Google Chrome, and then services like Gmail, whatever you might be using, Yahoo, things like that. All of these different services, clients, browsers have different ways of dealing with information. You also can view emails on mobile devices. So if I send an email blast, given using like a MailChimp or an Aweber or Constant Contact, whatever it may be that I'm using as my method of deployment, I'm going to see that, or my user base is going to see that in different places. So the very first thing I'd recommend doing is checking out your audience. Now we do a lot of work ourselves with this, but you can also sort of look into this yourself, which is where the users are coming from. So what we found specifically as an example is while most of our internet users, the people who are finding our websites, are actually from desktop computers or laptop computers, our subscribers are very different. About half of them, it's about half and half or so. Half come from mobile phones and on iPhones, Androids, and then half of them come from desktops or laptops. So we really have to target our message all over the place. But your results may vary. You may have 90% of your traffic coming from mobile phones. So kind of play around with it, take a look, and kind of come to that decision for yourself. A couple of popular clients and services I do want to go over because a lot of people have questions about them. The first one is Gmail. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because Gmail did recently, actually as of Thursday, which is December the 12th, change their policies, or December 12th, 2013, if you're watching this YouTube video forever from now. They did change their policies so that before, whenever you loaded an image, it did not display any images. Now, you only have a few seconds to get somebody's contact, right? So if I'm going to talk to you or give you a call to action to buy something or try something or you fill out a survey or whatever it is I'm trying to do, educate you, inform, whatever, I have to make sure that I'm reaching out to you. And I only have a couple seconds to do that because you get so many emails every day. I'm sure you're in the same boat. You're getting thousands of emails and you just don't want to deal with it. If you were using something like Gmail in the past and those emails weren't showing images and you had to go and click display images, things like that, chances are good you're going to skip right over that email, delete it, or just not read it. What you can do, or what happened now, I should say, is very different. So Gmail just changed their policy so that it will automatically detect if a link is junk or if an email is junk mail or not, like spam mail, and it will display the images off their own secure servers without asking if it detects that it's not spammy. If it's spammy or junk mail, it will still choose not to display those images, and you'd have to say, no, listen, Gmail, this isn't junk, or listen, I need to see these images. That's good in a way, but there's also something to consider with spammy messaging. And I can write in fact, I probably will do a whole other video if you guys want, or a whole other article just about writing titles or titling your email campaigns. What are you putting in the subject line? Because you might put out an email campaign that sounds kind of spammy, like 50% off all this or that, or winter sale, 2 days only. And Google or Gmail might consider that spam, even if it technically isn't. To you, it's still not going to display those images. So you have to be careful with the titling now. But things are stepping in the right direction if you are a fan of email marketing. The next one I want to talk about is Apple Mail. So Apple Mail is the client built into the computers. By default, that will display images. So if your clientele is using primarily Apple computers, that's good news. You can go ahead and put some images in there. If you're using something like a Mozilla Thunderbird, however, it's the exact opposite. Mozilla Thunderbird will not display images by default. You'll have to choose to turn them off, or to turn them on, I should say, with the display of the images. So if your market's primarily clients like that, like a Thunderbird, you might want to be careful about the amount of images you use. Finally, mobile devices, which are a big one, people using iOS and Android devices. This one's a little more obvious than the others because it's not really selective. It's just the fact that you're using cellular data, you're driving around, you're using this where you don't have Wi-Fi potentially. A lot of these, and there's just such small screens, they will not display images typically right off the bat. You'll have to enable it to do that in each email. So if you're marketing to people with phones primarily, I would even maybe say very small images or no images at all, and just like very big text and buttons and call to actions like that for mobile phone users. A couple more tips to share about images and email marketing campaigns is you never want to put too many in there, and here's why. You have a big old call to action on your email, right? You don't want it to get lost in a jungle of images and a jungle of content. You really want people's attention to be geared right into that tunnel, right into that purchase, right into that ask. So make sure you're not putting too many images in, regardless which browser or which audience you have. Just too many images can be too much. Just use some text. Support your claim. Get people interested in buying it. When you get that landing page, use text to support your claim. People still read, so just do that instead. A good tip for an image to use, people really emotionally respond to humans. So if you put a picture of like me or my smiling face on an email campaign or something of that nature, like a happy customer or a testimonial with a happy smiling customer, that actually does help quite a bit. Studies have found there as well. And again, just make sure that your title is not spammy. We don't want people passing by your page because Google thought that the title was spammy and put it in the junk folder. So that's that. If you have any other questions about that, if you want me to do more about email campaigns, if you really like it, if you want me to talk about something else, please comment below. We're always looking forward to that. Again, this is brought to you by our Silcom theme site. We are developing sort of more specific themes. We have a great photography theme coming out with all kinds of cool tools for photography websites. But we want to know, is there a specific type of website that you are looking for, a specific type of theme, or a pain point you might even have about internet marketing or getting all this stuff working and flowing on a WordPress-powered website? Please let us know, folks, in the comments below. You can subscribe to us for more of this stuff to see what our email campaigns look like at slomstudio.com/subscribe. You can read about this content on our blog as well. And as always, we may have a survey out so you can take a look at it too and kind of fill in that information, help us out a little bit. Thanks a lot, guys.